The declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State by the President Bola Tinubu administration has sparked intense reaction, with many labeling the move as unconstitutional. Many argue that the president's action violates Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution, which doesn't grant the power to remove or suspend an elected governor. Critics have also pointed out that the National Assembly didn't approve the declaration, and the president's action may set a dangerous precedent. Well, joining me right now on the program is Jake Epelle, is the founder and chief executive officer of the Albino Foundation. He joins virtually from Abuja. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right. I also have Dr. Alaye Theophilus, is the president of the Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide. He joins virtually from Rivers. All right, let me start with you, Jake. Interesting times in Plateau State. Your take on the declaration of Mr. President first. In Rivers State, apologies for that. Your take on the declaration of emergency in Rivers. I mean, what do you make of it?
Well, unfortunately, it was what I would term unconstitutional, especially the removal of an elected governor. There's no place in our Constitution that gave the president the power to suspend, not remove, suspend an elected governor. It's as good as him being also suspended, because he's also elected by the people as well as the governor. It's very unconstitutional for the extent for which he has gone. I mean, he can declare state of emergency. He has that constitutional power, but the Constitution didn't give him the power of removing an elected governor or suspending an elected governor. And that's one thing about when we allow an illegal move, it begets several illegalities, and that's what's playing out in Rivers State at this time. It's very disheartening. It's very, you know, as a Rivers indigene, I feel my right has been taken from me. I feel gross injustice. It's very painful what is going on in Rivers State, and some of us cannot sleep because I never knew this president who fought for democracy, who gave his life for democracy, who went on exile for democracy, will allow this kind of situation, you know, playing out before his very own eyes. You know, it's unacceptable. All right,
I will come back to you, but let me go to Dr. Theophilus right now. Now, Dr. Theophilus, I mean, what's your take too? Particularly, we've had conversations even with residents and stakeholders on this program who have even questioned the process of the declaration of emergency itself, and of course, the apex being the suspension of the governor. Do you think that the conditions, you know, for the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State was actually ticked?
Thank you very much. In as much as I'm concerned, and the entire Ijaw nation is concerned, that nothing has warranted for Rivers State to be declared state of emergency. Why we are worried is today is happening to Rivers State, and so many persons are clapping their hands that Mr. President have done well. But you know, in as much as Nigerian democracy is concerned, we are still at a very young, tender age. Our national democracy does not need to experience what we call unconstitutional approach or pronouncement. What Mr. President and the House of Rep and the Senate have done is to tell us that Nigeria today, that we are all part of, is not a banana republic. where the rule of law no longer exists. Everything that led to the process of the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State, it's faulty. Because the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as I made it explicitly clear that for a place or state to be declared state of emergency, that there is chaos, there is tendency that leads to war. But we haven't seen any of such scenarios in the River State. But for Mr. President to wake up and say that because the legislative arm and the executive arm of government is having loggerheads, which is the beauty of democracy, and you will come and say that you are declaring state of
Dr. Theophilus. All right, Dr. Theophilus, I'll come back to you. Let me come back to Jake. Now, Jake, there's also the role of the National Assembly. And another key player in all of this is the Minister of the FCT. That was also the former governor of Rivers State in all of this, even though we know that, the governor, that's Simfubara, according to Mr. President, has been suspended. What do you make of the role of the National Assembly and the role also, if at all, the Minister of the FCT, in person of Nyesom Wike, in all of this? Do you think that, they should also have been maybe called to order?
Well, let me talk about the role of the National Assembly. For your viewers who's been following me, I was very pointed in my submission, and I will recall what I said. One, that the day that the president made this proclamation was a sad day for democracy. The day that the National Assembly failed to rescue democracy and restore hope for both those who participate in democratic process and watchers of democracy, the National Assembly failed us. However, they tried to come to the rescue of some sort by amending the proclamation. And they amended the proclamation knowing fully well that, the people of Rivers State, in which some of them represent, will be aggrieved. They amended the proclamation, asking the president to go ahead and, put together eminent elders, in their words, so that they can look into the problem between the FCT minister and the sitting governor of the state. I think also, I must say here that I'm beginning to feel that we're giving too much attention to Nyesom Wike. In the first place, there is no way he should have been part of this at all if he had been comfortable with his position as FCT minister, a position which he, on national television, swore that he would never take. He said, what am I going to do with a minister? I don't want to be a minister. I've been a minister before, and now a governor. I've served my 8 years. I don't want to be a minister. Of course, we know that he ate back his word, and he became the FCT minister. By all means, he should have been satisfied with that, and be satisfied with focusing on the Herculean task of administrating the FCT and getting himself involved in making sure he provides the infrastructure that is most needed in FCT. Yeah, I think he should have been satisfied with that, but that was not the case. His interest was being in firm control of what happens in Rivers State, and in his word, his political structure And today we've seen the adverse effect of this thirst, untamed passion for power. And this is what it's doing to our beloved state. We have gone from one political crisis to another, and it has not ended.
Okay.
Rivers State has become a laughingstock for many states and the international community, just because one man wants to have his way.
In just one word, Jake, I'm still with you. Some have suggested that this appears to be some sort of groundwork ahead of 2027 elections. Some have even used the word state capture. Do you think that is the case? 30 seconds.
It is state capture, there's no doubt about that. But let me speak to 2027. If the president feels and thinks that Wike will deliver Rivers State to him in 2027, he should think again. He doesn't have the support of the people. This is not the best way for the president to ensure that he wins Rivers State. Mark my word. This is a national television, record me. With Wike, Tinubu will lose Rivers State. Without Wike, he will win Rivers State. Mark my word.
Okay, let me leave you for a moment, Jake, and let me come back to Dr. Theophilus. Now, the governor of Bayelsa State recently, in a televised broadcast, said his administration, banned a planned rally, largely in support of Nyesom Wike, the ex-Rivers State governor, to avoid crisis in the state. Now, my question to you, of course, is it appears like other governors, particularly opposition states, are sort of tightening up their belts. I mean, what do you make of this? I'll get your response to that once we return from this break. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on New Central Television. I still have my guest with me. Now, Dr. Theophilus, before we went on that break, I said, I asked a question. I said, the fact that the Bayelsa State governor banned gatherings in support of the ex-River State governor, what does this reflect, particularly of opposition states in the South-South?
The governor, in as much as they are aware, is the chief security officer of Bayelsa State. And to secure life and property in the state is his constitutional responsibility. So, for group of persons to come and say that they want to have a rally, and looking at the security situation and how tense the atmosphere is, he thought it twice that that rally should not be granted. I believe he's doing it on the best of interest of citizens of the state. We are not saying that some group of persons or an individual is not permitted to visit a state. But in as much as there are tensions in respect to that particular individual, and knowing the kind of people the young people are and how they react to this, I believe he has done it in the best of the interest of Bayelsa State and Nigeria at large. Because with what is happening in this country, where people are being killed, where families are being killed, where banditries are happening, is no longer crisis, but where one or two political conflict happens and states are targeted for state of emergency.
Dr. Theophilus, because we're really pressed for time and we really need to go, I just want to ask you a point-blank question. And this, of course, is in the minds of many political speculators and Nigerians that are watching all of the events, political events unfold in the South-South. Some of the opinion that the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, is a political tool in the hand of the ruling party to mop up particularly opposition states in the South-South. That's the opinion of some observers. Do you think this is the case?
Yes.
30 seconds.
In as much as we are aware of what is happening and the build-up, because this is what is played out today in Rivers State and some other states like Bayelsa and Delta is a clear indication. Because the minister has come up and played. He has said it in several words and occasions that his interest is to see how he can deliver his principle. So he is today a political stool to the ruling party and the president, and he is bent on doing whatever that is within his power to see that he delivers, forgetting that he was a former governor and the interests of Rivers State and Rivers people should be his priority. Today, with the state of emergency that has declared in Rivers State, he has sent good signal to international communities and investors that Rivers State is not a good place to do business and investment. And
all right.
To ask a
Dr. Theophilus, I'm afraid we need to go. Dr. Theophilus, thank you so much for your time. I'm afraid we need to go out. I'd also love to hear from Mr. Jake Epelle, his final thoughts. But
in 30 seconds.
30 seconds. If you can, sir, I'd appreciate that.
30 seconds. Dakpo, Nyesom Wike has become a political persona non grata. He cannot win any state in the whole of the South. He cannot. The South. He cannot. He knows it. And that's the truth.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Jake Epelle is the founder and chief executive officer of the Albino Foundation, and also Dr. Alaye Theophilus is the president of the Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide. It's been a pleasure. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having us, and thank you to my good friend, Kayode.
All right, sir.